And we are live. Hello and welcome to Developer Insights. I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
Together we are the leads on game development and design here at Codename.
We also founded Codename too.
We will be your episode for this hosts and for every host. Wait, that's not right at all.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, because when the episode's not here, the host doesn't happen.
Seems true enough to me.
All right, let's try and get back on track. Today is our 79th episode.
And I was going to say that we were going to have an exciting episode for everyone, but after seeing the Starship launch today, I really feel like anything we do is going to fall short.
You mean a 36-story building-sized stainless steel tube with 16 millions of thrusts that threw 40 kilometers into the air and then was aborted in a spectacularly fiery disassembly is more interesting than us?
Yeah, that. Also, I don't think disassembly is the word that I would have chosen for that.
Actually, that is the official term they used. It's a rapid, unscheduled disassembly.
But it's missing spectacular and fiery.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully our stream will have a less explosive ending.
Well, we don't have a big red abort button that causes that, right? Do we?
Oh, well, it's for emergency use only. And I think when you click it, it just says, that was easy.
As always, we are here to answer development and design questions about idle champions.
But if you don't ask any questions, you may have to suffer through Justin's one-man reenactment of Justin watching the aforementioned launch.
Yeah, you can actually ask your questions. The reenactment is only about 4 minutes long, and from about 2 minutes in, it's just me going, I don't think the rocket's supposed to be pointed back down at the ground right now.
Right. Okay, so don't hold back on the questions this week.
Yes, bring them on.
Okay. Anyway, as always, we have pulled forward some questions from the previous show that we didn't get to, so we will answer some of those while we are waiting for new questions to come in. And of course, before I get to that, we do have some updates on items that we flagged to get looked at by the dev team. So without any further stalling for time, we will get started with those. All right, top of the list, fixes on new features. It sounds like there was an improvement done to the pop-up damage text performance. So apparently in cases where there's a lot of that getting, like in case of lots of monsters and hits that are hitting multiple at once, that the performance on that has been, I'm told, significantly improved. So that's good. I do have a list of minor fixes that came in from suggestions from last week's show. That includes a fix for the Elder Brain health bar location. It was under the UI bar, so that's been moved up. The favor filter on the Forge dialog now dims the legendary level number when shown to make it obvious which ones that favor is showing eligible or not. The show legendary levels checkbox on that aforementioned dialog its state will now persist through closing and reopening the Forge dialog. And there is now an eye level sorting option on the blacksmithing dialog. We still have a set of in-progress items that you may be familiar with at this point, which is saving feats with formations, random skin mode, a tooltip for gear with max level to indicate progress towards that max level, an option on mobile for a quick return to Area 1, additional icons on the quest tracker to differentiate the types of season quest, recall for familiar, and an indicator for showing unread change logs. All right, on to the leftover questions. First question, leftover from last week, is from Battle Pickle 615. The question is, last week you were reluctant to filter heroes on the bench by association or role. Have you considered highlighting instead to avoid the concerns with filtering?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, a question that we highlighted for you because you were the one who was kind of talking about filtering a couple of weeks ago, I guess 2 weeks ago at this point, and the idea that removing champions from the champion bar would be a little bit awkward because it'd be you could potentially not understand that there are champions that are available but just aren't being displayed. I do think highlighting is a better solution, some way to maybe dim out the ones that don't match the filters. So, I mean, I think it's a good suggestion for that kind of thing if players really wanted to filter champions on the bar.
Yeah, I definitely, that sounds like a more amenable way I'd be more amenable to. Definitely concerned with anything that hides heroes on the bar. it's because it's often the case that why they're hidden isn't obvious. So a system for highlighting that. I forget exactly what was being requested.
I think it was for like just trying to find champions that like match the like restrictions, or like finding other champions with a given affiliation, or just trying to find champions that you have that that'll be useful for a certain situation. And I could see that. I could see that being a thing that would be very useful, and having like a set of filters that would then like, yeah, highlight in some way, or dim out ones that don't match the filter. And even for like different seats, if there were ones in that seat that maybe matched, then it could maybe highlight the swap button in some way. I could see that being pretty useful.
Okay.
Next question from a previous show is from Rough Rider 1995. Who asks, can enemies/bosses not be pushed off the screen with knockback to the point where we can't see what debuffs have been applied to them?
So, I mean, I guess I'd have to know a little bit more context on this. I mean, in general, like sort of the further back a knockback pushes, the more effective it is. I guess I'd have to know what situation was occurring and where it was really important to see the debuffs, but also not, where seeing the debuffs was more important than getting a few extra seconds to continue attacking the target. I don't know. Is there anything off the top of your head you can think of, Justin, where that would be coming up?
I mean, I know that in the past there have been issues with some knockbacks just not behaving with kind of the minimum place where monsters are supposed to be on the screen. I don't know the current status of that, though.
I see some comments in the chat. It feels like when enemies are off the screen, they stop dying. Well, I don't think they do, but
I know we certainly have had cases where like there's some sort of logical weirdness where like when an enemy isn't fully spawned, they can't be attacked.
Yeah.
And it's somehow like when they're pushed back, it sort of counts them as not fully spawned anymore or something, or at least it seems that way. I know we got reports of that. Yeah.
So I think the alternative there would be that they just get stuck at the edge of the screen. That's kind of as far back as they're allowed to go.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what should really happen.
Okay.
So
well, we'll tag that.
It'd probably be a good idea to do just a sanity check on that, make sure that's working as we would intend.
Okay. And hopefully if we fix that, we don't get the opposite report. Hey, you nerfed my ability to knock items off the screen. Or enemies, items. Okay, next question. This one is from Asphila 357. The question is, does the icon on portrait to indicate availability of a champion also work for Trials of Tiamat for the daily stat restrictions?
So I don't know 100% for this, but I don't see why it wouldn't. Trials, adventures function exactly the same way as other adventures as far as their restrictions. So it should show up there. If there was a feat that you had that would make a champion available, it should be indicated. If it's not, I feel like we would have to have gone out of our way to do that.
Okay.
Let's see. So let's get into some questions from this week. The first one is from Bellswin, who got the very first question in. Congratulations. And ironically, they got the very first question in because here is their question. Question, can you please give us a way to ask questions for Dev Insights before the show? Since daylight savings changed, I can no longer make it live, but I am still so full of questions. Asking for a friend.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, it's a little bit tricky because we do get asked almost every show far more questions than we have an opportunity to answer. So I think the more questions that we answer prior to that would just sort of exacerbate the problem of people not being able to get the answers in live. I do think sort of if what's going on here is that, your friend is the one who can't make the show and you're asking for them, that's actually a pretty good way to get a question in, especially if you've got it ready to go at the top of the show, because that's going to be at the top of the list. But I think sort of having a pre-show list, I think would get fairly untenable, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, yeah, like you say, it'd be tough because we'd end up all the people who showed up for the show live might not get as many of their questions answered, and then it's like,
yeah, it sort of disincentivizes that portion. So
yeah.
But
by all means, I mean, you can ask a friend to ask a question for you if they're going to be able to make it, and then as long as they get it in the first 30 or 40 questions of the show, we might just get to it.
Yeah. All right. And next question. All right. This is from Garwar. Are the Supercharged Modron achievements working correctly? They state supercharge all possible outputs, which reads as all nodes that are possible to be supercharged. But in actuality, it means literally all nodes to get the achievements.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. It's not supposed to require you to do all of the nodes that are there. It's just the ones that are possible to be supercharged is kind of what was intended with that design. So it sounds like if it is functioning in a different way than that, then that is likely a miscommunication during implementation, and we should see about getting that fixed.
Okay. Next question. This one is also from Garwar. Looks like actually Garwar followed that exact advice I was just giving, which was having a handful of questions ready to go at the top of the show. So this next question is, any chance we could get the ability to rotate a Modron core layout 90 degrees at a time so that we can look at it from different angles? Some of us understand things better when looking at them from different perspectives.
I think that's an interesting request. I think the odds of us implementing something like that are fairly low. So in terms of the chance, there's a chance, but it's fairly low, and just because it's just a use of development time, right? We've got limited resources, and so in terms of where we spend them, we want to spend them in the places where they'll do the most good for the most players. And I think rotating the Modron core is, I think absolutely it could be useful. I'm also someone who likes to rotate things to get another look at them, to understand them better. But it feels like something would be a little bit too niche to spend development time on.
Doesn't that come with a number of sort of other caveats to it to make it a little more complicated than it sounds?
Yeah, like all the pieces would also have to rotate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That maybe
because they're all specific.
Yeah, for the purpose of viewing it, we could probably make it so you could rotate it, but without at that point editing it would be difficult, because all of your pieces would be in their original orientation, which would then mean that if we rotated it, we could then rotate your I think that gets a little bit confusing.
I think the easiest way to do it at this point is just to rotate your monitor. Do the old manual thing, just like
or if you play on a tablet, that just doesn't work. You just keep rotating it, the screen just keeps changing.
Well, you lock your screen and then you rotate.
All right. Okay.
Next question is from the Thor Out First. Okay. Question:
Take a screenshot and rotate it.
Why is it that Epic updates take so long and Steam updates fly, or is it just my Epic system? I think this is actually the download time for them. That's
what I was wondering. Yeah. They shouldn't. I mean, does Epic? I haven't confirmed this. If they've got to what degree they've got sort of the incremental update, because I know Steam does. Steam most certainly does a comparison of the previous version and what version we're changing, and then it just sends the differences. So sometimes an update can literally be less than 10 megs. I'm not entirely sure to what level Epic is doing that, so it could be if it's like a full game download again, which would be like another gig, that could be the reason, but I'd have to check and confirm that. I'm not sure if
they're saying in chat that it hangs at around 91% forever, so I wonder if there's something here where maybe it does do a sort of a diff, and it's the merging of the diff with the original that maybe Steam kind of hides that bit, and Epic shows that as part of the update percentage, or something like that.
Maybe. I know on Steam, when you get those updates, it's just like download and done.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I would assume that Epic has to have a decent amount of bandwidth in their system, or else
I'm wondering if even looking in the download progress would tell you what was happening at that time, because I know the detailed view does show whether it's downloading or whether it's doing the actual disk write, or but
yeah,
odd.
I imagine whatever it is not something that we have any control over, because we just upload the binary and they distribute it. So
yeah, I mean, the reality is not everyone can be as good as Steam. They've really got that one
Steam's been doing it longer than anyone else, so they've got a bit of a first mover's advantage there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. This one is from Library of Akasha. Will Mega or Ultimate Gold chests have a 0.1% or a 0.01% chance to Golden Epic or Core or Evergreen Champion? Probably not, but I'm asking for the lulz. It's not like you'll ever allow us to dismantle them anyways.
No, I don't think we'll ever put golden epics in chests of really any sort. Yeah, fun question, but no, I don't think we will.
Yeah, one thing that is sort of connected to that, I know like sort of the request for the Mega or Ultimate chests has come along because of people ending up with a large pileup of chests that they wish to open, and I know our system currently only supports doing 100 at a time. That is something that, what's that, Justin?
50 at a time.
Oh, right. Of course. Sorry, I've been looking at those opening logs. Anyway, one of the things that Mark's been hard at work on is making that system a lot more performant, and so that is something that might be changing in the future. So that may stay off how rapidly we see Mega or Ultimate Gold chests appear. Okay, next question. This one is from Garwar. Does the champion on jury duty, the one sent to trials, count towards eligibility for variants like Bully for You? I ask because they show up as a champion option for champs like Voronika.
My guess is that they would count towards eligibility for variants like that. I think we would have had to have gone out of our way to not had that in place, and I doubt that that's something that we did.
Someone in the chat is saying they authoritatively that they do count.
Yeah. That would absolutely make sense.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got some plans for trials. We've got some fun plans for trials. This question may become less relevant in the
a lot of spoilers today. Right. Oh, this is a good question.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer this, Justin?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
okay.
I can answer this.
All right. This is another question from Garwar.
Yeah.
Since it turns out that D&D and Arbys are having a crossover with a set of Arbys D&D dice, apparently those are actually really tough to get a hold of. Is there going to be an Idle Champions across Arbys or crossover as well? Maybe a roast beef sandwich familiar.
Roast beef sandwich, or maybe one of them scorpion burgers. Oh, that's not Arby's, I guess.
No. Ethically raised scorpions. Yeah.
I had no idea that this Arbys crossover thing was happening until like it popped up in our internal chat of people like, I tried to get these dice, but I got into the wait list and then they were sold out when I don't know anything about this in terms of what was involved in it. I know we did a crossover with Nerds back in the day when D&D was doing a crossover with Nerds, so we got in on that. I guess we just didn't get included on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that precludes a roast beef sandwich familiar. Just
No, yeah, it might not be Arby's brand.
No,
Justin's homemade. Any sandwich restaurant companies out there who want to do a crossover with us, send an email, and maybe we can one up Arby's. Take that, Arbys.
I hope they're not listening. Okay, next question. This is
Arby's is always listening, Dave.
Next question. This is from Library of Akasha. Thoughts on giving Tatiana a feat which lowers her Find a Feast 15-second cooldown? Reduce it to 5 seconds, maybe 1 second. No, that's quite a cooldown feat.
Well, I think Tatiana wouldn't be on the screen anymore. She'd just always be off trying to find food, and then we'd have to redo the avatar for her. Give her a little bit more little bit more feast. So yeah, I don't know that we need to do this. It sounds fun, but I don't know that we will. Yes, send Tatiana for Arby's. Maybe that's the crossover we can do. But yeah, I don't think this isn't really something that's on our radar right now.
Okay. Next question. This is from Lightning Hawk. Why does my background party patron challenge farms not count towards the season challenge for completing 20 patron challenges? It appears only to be counting the ones completed in the foreground.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a result of changes to background party stuff that we've done recently, or if this has been around forever. It feels to me like it probably should try its best to count patron challenges completed in the background. So maybe this is something that we can take to the dev team and ask what's what with that. Because it does feel like if we are able to complete patron challenges in the background, we should certainly be able to detect that for the purpose of season quests. Next question is from, what is this guy's name? Garawar. Never heard of him. Says, when will we see feats saved with formation saves? Yeah, Dave, when?
I keep bringing it up with Peter, and there's some reason that was more complicated than he wanted it to be off the top, but it is something that is intended to be prioritized, so we will get to that for sure. I don't have a when exactly, unfortunately. Okay, next question. This one is from Engel Tiger. When do we get the complete all Waterdeep Dragon heist achievement to match the Tomb of Annihilation one?
I am surprised that is not out, because I could have sworn that we did that. So I will ask about that with the team as well.
Okay. Next question then. This is from Library of Akasha. I thought open a time gate daily quests were not supposed to appear if you have every champion. I have every champion now, and I just got that quest again today.
That is strange. I was going to use a bit of downtime when Dave was answering the question to go through and find out what the requirements were for those. But then I have run out of time. So now I'm just filling for time while I click through things and try to find the answer to that. And as I walk through this, I can see that open time gate.
What are you checking?
I'm just checking the design to see what the design actually says. So the design here, and I'm not sure, maybe this got, it's bolded and underlined, so I don't know if that means it got missed or it's getting implemented in season 4,
or it's just super important.
And are we in a free time gate weekend? No, that wouldn't be till tomorrow anyway. Yeah, that seems odd. It feels like that might be a requirement that is not a requirement that's not quite functioning quite right. So it's going to be something that we're going to take a gander on there, see what the requirements are set to and if they are not working properly. I know that for season 4 we adjusted the requirements for that one. Actually, I wasn't looking at season 4. Where is the season 3 one? No, okay, so here's what it is. For season 3, we haven't put in the requirement yet for you must have a bunch of locked champions. So it's in season 4 that it will start restricting it based off of you must have at least 10 plus locked event champions for that quest to show up. So it should stop showing up in season 4. There we go. That's a satisfying answer. Well, I mean, not satisfying because season 4 is not here yet, but you know what I mean. We have a date for it at least.
Okay. Back up to where we were. There we are. Next question. This is from Belswin. And they ask, in preparation for the next season, can you please give us a way to use dismantles on champions while they are away on Tiamat jury duty?
Yeah, this is a good question. So I think that certainly a legendary dismantle while a champion is away on jury duty would be possible. A full dismantle on a champion that was away on jury duty would be more challenging because the effect they're providing to Tiamat would potentially be affected by that dismantle. And it feels like something that opens a bit of a can of worms. Now our dismantle events usually last for several weeks. So I don't think it's an issue of like there's no way to dismantle a champion when you're using them for jury duty. You just have to remember to do it between trials. But hopefully this is something that goes away when we release our updates to Trials of Mount Tiamat, which I continue to tease.
Yes, which you introduced today. Yeah.
I continue to tease them today. Just let people think about what they could be. What could we be doing to Trials? Fun and exciting things, friends. Fun and exciting things.
Hopefully.
Let's see. Next question is from Randram. And they say, not everyone knows all feats that exist, but this week I noticed that the new feat could make champ icon or available icon only appears to work on owned feats rather than existing feats. Is that intended? Seems more useful if it also considers existing feats, as not everyone has an encyclopedic. I don't think that was spelled right, but it also wasn't pronounced right, so you're forgiven. Knowledge the way some of us do. So basically they're asking, if it can consider existing feats too. So someone could actually go in and like spend some gems to have a champion available.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that we could consider. I know the way it was designed, the intention was that it's showing that you have a feat available, that basically this champion with a quick modification to their loadout makes them available, as opposed to, hey, you have to actually go, that there's an option, but you might have to go purchase it to make it available. So certainly the way it's working is as intended. Adding some additional information to show that there are other potentials there, like it does seem like that's something that we could do. It's a little bit what's the word I'm looking for, like involved, sort of actually add sort of that UI and describe what's going on and why it's being offered. So it's something that I think would for what would be involved there is a little bit lower down the priority list, but it is something that we could consider doing. But for now, sort of the intention was that you have the feat that makes this available, and so if you click it and change a feat, you will be able to then use that champion. Not that there's an option that you could purchase or unlock to make that happen.
Yeah, it feels like if we were going to show it for existing feats, we'd need to have a different icon of some sort.
Yeah, it gets a little more complicated, I think, a little messier.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like the giveaway is ready to go, so why don't we talk a little bit about the giveaway?
Aluminum chests! No, there's no aluminum chests. Those are things that's never happening. I say really that now, and maybe we actually get some aluminum chests in the game.
So for anyone who hasn't been here before or who has rated us from another Piratey channel, we are going to be very shortly running our world famous 42 chest giveaway. The way it works is there will be a keyword that you type in chat. In this case, it is boom. And the reason I yelled that is because it's boom in all caps. BOOM for those of you who can't spell, or you can just copy and paste it. And you enter that, and that will give you a chance to win 42 gold, or not gold chests, 42 chests of your choice. If you win, you actually get to pick which type of chest you want. So it could be any type of chest. It could be gold chests, silver chests, I guess, if you wanted less stuff. It could be Modron component chests. It could be
pirate chests.
If we've done like a pirate weekend, there's probably some sort of pirate braced chest out there. So I guess you could ask for that. It has to be a type of chest that exists in game. So that's why you can't do aluminum chests. The clairvoyant admin chests still don't exist.
Still knows what you want.
Don't try for those. They only exist on dev. Sorry. But yeah. So good luck to everyone who's entered that. And let's get back to some questions.
Right. Like, why are pirates called pirates, Justin?
Oh dear. Why?
They just are. All right, fine. Moving on. The next question is not... All right, it's...
Yeah, the next question is for you. It's from
right.
Library of Akasha. And they ask, could you make it so all gold and event tokens dropped from bounty contracts are compressed into one event token or one piece of gold? It gets laggy when opening bounty contracts, and a lot of gold and event tokens appear at once.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing about the drop, especially for running bounty contracts, is that we don't want it to appear that it does, like, there is an intention here that this appears like you are getting a large number of items because you are, depending on the size of the contract used, and they are already actually quite a bit compressed from what can be, especially for the large ones. So it is something that we could, was potentially via some form of an option, we could make it so that it compressed it a little bit more. But it is something that sort of in general, sort of by default, we want this to appear like you are getting, a large chunk of time's worth of event tokens and gold. And so we don't want that to be sort of compressed down to one, because remove sort of kills the excitement of it. But I think that is something we could probably add in a setting to reduce the overall number, because that is something we controlled, because early on when we were showing sort of all of them, it was extremely laggy, which is why they are compressed as already. But yeah, I wouldn't do it down to one, and I certainly I wouldn't do it by default. I'd probably do it as an option. So it's something we can consider as sort of a performance option. But yeah. Okay, next question. This one is from the Lurking Writer, and it is tagged as silly, in case levity is needed.
Always needed.
With it being episode 79, what prime number related facts will be spoken of today, and how are they relevant to the game? 79.
It speaks to my trauma that I had to go and Google is 79 prime just to double check. It's for people who are new in chat, it's a bit of a running joke. There was one episode where we did a whole opening duologue. I guess it's not a monologue, it's the two of us talking about prime numbers, because I thought that the episode was prime and it turned out it wasn't. So I am forever...
I can't trust you when you say something's prime now.
By that. You really can't trust anything I say, I think is the kind of the point. So welcome to Dev Insights.
You heard it here first. Wait, can we trust that?
Exactly, you can't. So maybe I can't. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, did you know you can use your Prime, Amazon Prime, to subscribe to our channel?
I've been seeing that in the chat.
There's the Prime fact of the day.
Oh dear. Sorry, we didn't prep any, unfortunately, beyond that. We would ask ChatGPT, but I think it's just as reliable as Justin on that one.
Ouch. Ooh.
Next question. This is from Seawolf177. Can you do something more about the leeches in trials? The last two trials have had people that sat at 0 DPS and they still get scales. I understand that life happens, but this isn't fair to the rest of us that complete the daily quests and get the same amount.
Yeah, so I think this is something that in my rework we will try to take a stab at. There's a lot of very challenging things about this. Like, we can't have it be, like, I think having it at 0 DPS is very challenging, because you could potentially have a situation where somebody joins a trial, their intention is to take part, but maybe they just miss one day, and in the meantime the rest of the group finishes the trial in like a day and a half, and they just don't have an opportunity to participate. So we can also then potentially, another solution would be like, hey, after maybe 3 days, if you're still at 0 DPS, you don't get any trials or any scales if it completes. But then the question becomes, so where is the line that you put it at? Is it 0? Does it have to be just 1 DPS? Does it have to be 100 DPS? Do you have to do you have to have like a fifth of the DPS in order to get scales? And wherever we put that line is where people who want to take advantage are just going to do. And so I think, there's a suggestion in the chat there, 1 daily at least. And it's like, well, okay, so then those people will do 1 daily. And then the next set of complaints we'll get is like, hey, people are sitting at 100 DPS. They're just doing one daily, and then they're just sitting there until the rest of us complete it, and they still get the same amount of scales. And so it's a very hard problem to find like a very elegant solution to. But we are it is a problem that we are actively looking at in our redesign. So hopefully we can make it both more compelling to participate, so that people won't want to sit at 0 DPS or won't have an excuse for sitting at no contribution, while at the same time giving players some tools so that people who do not contribute are not rewarded for it. Let's see. Next question is from Miss Clicks, who asks, any good news about mega chests or the potion exchange? Niscus. Thank you. Any good news about mega chests or the potion exchange coming soon? Thanks a lot in advance. A lot.
Right. Well, I feel like this was actually a question that was probably better aimed at you, Justin, but I think sort of beyond my mentioning
earlier. Where's the potion exchange, dude?
Yeah, that we are working on improvements to the performance of chest opening, which I'm not sure if that's good news specifically about mega chests, but it could be good news in that limit might go up, provided that we get that sorted properly. Or the potion exchange. The potion exchange, of course, completely unrelated, but still a pretty cool feature, which I know you want to talk about, Justin.
It's something that I've designed and is now sitting on Dev's plate in terms of when that gets implemented. So,
what did you do? Do they know this? Did you give them the design?
Does Dev know?
Does Dev know?
You know.
That's true, but does Peter
know?
Isn't that
good enough? It's Dev Insights. Therefore, I know. We're two devs. Should be good enough.
That's true. Yeah, we haven't sort of put that into the work queue yet, but it's definitely something that's sitting there ready to go. I mean, I'd like to see that one done sooner than later, but
me too.
Yeah,
we'll just highlight that bit.
Yeah.
In the hey Dev, go and do it color. Whoops, I accidentally highlighted it in gray. That's never going to get done.
No wonder it's not done yet. All right, next question. This is from Star Chaser 43. And they ask, what do you think has worked well in the current season? And following that, what was less than satisfying?
So I think the main thing that we were kind of trying in this season was some changes to the reward track. Trying to put the Modron core in the free track and putting it nice and early so that people can use it throughout the season. I think we had in season 1 we also had a Modron core, but it was later on in the season, and it was also just on the paid track. So I think that was something that we tried with this season is swapping that around. I think that worked quite well. All the feedback I saw on that was pretty positive. Obviously, the same sort of track with the Modron core. We also tried to put the Modron core XP there, and that was unsatisfying. Another thing that we're looking at changing for season 4, or we are changing for season 4, is just kind of the structure of the reward track. I'm sure we will talk about that in more detail prior to season 4 coming out, but we are looking at addressing some of those concerns that players have where they've bought the pass and you are kind of forced to spend currency on stuff you don't necessarily want to get the stuff that you want, such that you feel like you're kind of being kind of punished for buying the pass, which is obviously not something we want players to feel. No. And so it is something that we are taking great steps to try to mitigate for season 4 and beyond. So yeah, good question. Thank you.
Okay. This next one I thought was actually kind of an interesting question. This question is from Kuvu Plan, and they ask, a lot of formations can be flipped vertically and still be the same. This can often be a feature, really. Will there be any champions that buff above or below at some point? From the champion's perspective, that would be to their left or to their right.
Oh dear.
That's true.
I mean, that's true, but we would certainly never say that in the text, because that would start to get very confusing.
Yes.
So I think that, yeah, I guess that is a possibility. I think the main reason we've avoided that is because there's just a tiny bit of ambiguity when it comes to above or below.
Is there? I mean, maybe.
I mean, I guess above in the same column is pretty straightforward, and then above, like to the left and right, because it's kind of each column is kind of offset. I guess you could say, like,
I mean, you could certainly
above and to the side.
Yeah, I think a general above would be something that would be. I mean, at least just on the axis there, could be, people would be able to understand that, and
I think
definitely above or below.
it would be possible
In the same column. That one's easy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think we have done ones. I think we have done a buff that's like the top and the bottom of the column, or the top of each column. Isn't there a blessing, I think, that affects just champions in the top column, or the top of each column? I'm not sure.
It sounds familiar, but I can't think of which one it was off the top of my head.
But yeah, there's definitely the possibility for that type of thing. We have see, hey, Tomb of Annihilation, columbar. So yeah, I think there's definitely the possibility for that. And I can't really say if there's any particular reason why we haven't done that before, but I'm sure Pete is watching, and the next champion we design will have that. So,
oh boy,
thanks for the idea.
Careful, they're going to want royalties on that, Justin. Next.
Didn't you read the fine print that we flash up for one frame before the stream starts? Any suggestions in stream become our property.
I don't know about that.
Put that together for next time.
No. Okay, let's go back to answering questions instead of
digging
treading in
ourselves into legal hot water.
Yeah, that one. Let's not do that. The next question is from Regis2K. Hi guys, can you explain what global damage is? It is a name featured in 3 blessings, namely Correlations, Crystalline, and Aurelus. Or I'm saying those wrong, but what exactly does it buff?
So global damage is, I guess maybe we refer to global DPS and global damage separately, but they're essentially the same thing. So it would be just damage that all champions do. Yeah, I think that's what the answer to this question is. Yeah, it would just be the damage that all champions do, regardless of where they are in the formation.
Yeah, but I think in the context of the blessings, though, don't we have damage that's in there that blesses, or that does only on that campaign, and then some that is global?
That could very well be. There's damage, like all 5 of the blessing, or 6 of the blessings categories at this point have that as their first global blessing effect. So potentially that could be what is it? It's just weird that he mentioned 3, like the 3 blessings, as that should be an effect for each one.
I'm seeing in the chat.
Yeah, damage of all champions. So I'm imagining that global damage is as far as what I can tell here is just it's just a damage boost to all champions, and that appears to be a difference in how we are stating it in those champions. 3 particular blessings.
Right, and
which
then
is certainly something where we could update that for consistency.
Right, and the question asker I see is asking, does it? So it doesn't buff click damage?
I don't think it would, no.
Which is a little bit confusing if it's just global damage. Could be
Yeah, no, that wouldn't include. It would not include click damage based on the effect that I'm thinking that those have. So yeah, I think it is just a lack of consistency in that text, and maybe that's something we can quickly look at, because certainly getting that updated and translating those wouldn't be too tough.
Let's hope not.
Knock on wood. All right, next question is from Dark Drake 0210, who asks, when is iOS get an update? It's behind on the version.
That's a good question. I'm going to just ping Peter and ask him, because that is something he would know. I mean, typically they're not too far behind, but every now and then it gets a little bit backlogged. But if I ask Peter,
And oftentimes that does depend on sort of what kind of things we're rolling out, because often we will push out things that we are pretty sure are like we're like 99% sure that it's working. But if we were to spend the time and effort to get it out to all of the other platforms and it turned out it wasn't working, that it would just be a bit of a pain in the butt. So we try to make sure that all the updates that go out to iOS, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch especially, are as solid as they can be. So oftentimes Steam and Epic will get kind of the latest and greatest updates that haven't necessarily been 100% vetted by tens of thousands of players yet.
All right. I don't have an immediate answer from Peter, but if he replies to me before time is up, I will let everyone know.
It's also possible that there's this iOS specific issue. I know we always have, or we don't always, but every once in a while we have issues with a sticker pack that we released on iOS about 5 years ago that has a similar but distinctly different icon than Idle Champions, but it gets flagged from time to time by the iOS review team as having the same icon, and they think that we're trying to confuse people into confusing our app and our sticker pack, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I think we took the sticker pack down.
Did we take it down? I don't think because of that.
I don't think we support that anymore because of that.
Yeah. Every once in a while we would get like you failed the check because you're trying to confuse people, and we always shook our fist and resubmitted the exact same build and it got passed. So. Yeah.
All right. Did you highlight this, Justin? You must have highlighted that. Yeah.
This one here.
Right. Because we already answered most of that. We can go over it again.
Yeah, sure. Why don't I ask you this? So it's from the Lurking Writer, and they ask, "Do we have a toggle option to prevent display of floating damage numbers and/or excess projectiles on screen? As a possible addition to this, some way of condensing the number of tokens that appear when using bounty contracts into a single image." So that one's the same. Whether this impacts the performance of the game or not, it would make it visually less cluttered and would be very much appreciated. Cheers for everything the whole team does. That's a lot of cheers.
Right. Okay. So I mean, this sounds like a second for having an option. To reduce
this part
the
here
number
I think we answered, but this other stuff.
And I know there's another question that follows up with that a little bit further down, because there was some, like, there's a question 4 down here saying, since you guys took a pass at the combat text, would you reconsider offering an option to hide the text altogether? And sort of the context on that is that there is a new feature coming that has something to do with that text, and that was so that I know Jarrett was in there sort of taking a number of systems that sort of over the course of the life of the game had diverged and sort of unifying that in a way, as well as taking an opportunity to improve some of those some of the way that text is displayed, because I know it's bothered him for a long time how messy that is. So certainly we could play with having some options to sort of reduce the amount that's there. I'm hesitant to sort of remove the damage numbers entirely. Again, it falls into that category of like removing information completely, that then becomes confusing if players come back and they don't have that on. It's one of the ones that I've always thought, well, if we could put this in, but the game launches with like a warning flagged up. It's like, just remember, you've got these things turned off. So I'm on the fence about that particular one, but certainly things that reduce the numbers that are shown, just because obviously I know from the damage gets to a point where you can't read it at all. And certainly like the drops of bounty contracts and that sort of stuff does cause momentary latency, momentary frame drops. So I'm all for having options to make it so that those momentary frame drops don't happen. But we'll tag that, and like I say, it seems like it's a second for having an option for that. So I think it's a feature people would appreciate. Okay, next question. This is from Desire. I think we're going for Desire. Is that?
Yeah, clever.
Are you making patron challenges more difficult, or am I just unlucky to have Strahd 100 or 1,000 areas with Ashara, Makos, and Zariel, 1,000 areas with Ashaka, Makos, both of which excludes Fen?
Yeah, I think that is just unlucky. We tried to include, we tried to not have very many patron challenges that excluded Fen, but every once in a while, well, I mean, we can't just ignore all the other champions in her slot. So, alas, there are a couple of challenges in there, and yeah, they'll pop up every once in a while. It is worth saying that in terms of the patron challenges, assuming everybody has all of the same champions unlocked, you will get the same patron challenges as your friends who have the same unlocks as you do every week, because the system uses a kind of a seed, a fixed seed, to try and give everyone the same challenges if possible. And the reason we did that is so that people could, commiserate with each other about the easy or the hard challenges from week to week. So if you got the ones that exclude Fen and you've got most of the champions, it's likely that all your fellow players are just as unlucky and got those same ones that week.
Okay. I do have an update from Peter about the iOS version. So this was the question asked by Dark Drake. Peter's telling me the version of iOS that's up right now is 5.05. So if you're on 5.03, you are 1 or 2 builds behind. I'm not sure how many builds the jump was there. And that the next, so it should be 5.05 right now. And it's about the same as the other non-Steam or non-PC platforms. And the builds will be coming for that probably next week. So yeah, so you should have an update at least to 5.05. Okay.
Next question is from the Mad Mallard, who asks, regarding the new icon for champions available with a feat, with patron variants, is it intended that the icon appears when a champion would be available for the patron, but still not available for the variant?
So no, that's an oversight. That should be grayed out or maybe not even shown at all. I think the intention,
probably not even shown. Yeah.
The intention was that it would show if having that feat would make the champion available, not if that feat would make the champion available if there was another reason as well. So I'll tag that. I know we had a question about this last week as well, and I don't think Peter got to it, but I'll pass this one along again. But that was definitely not the intention. The intention is that if that icon is there, you can use that champion if you enable their feat. Okay.
Dark Drake 0210 is saying they're on 503 and no update has been in the store for a while. So I wonder if there's something where it got pushed but not the last button.
I don't know. Peter says live on Apple on the second of the month.
That seems strange to me.
I agree. Okay. I mean, I can ask him to take a look, but I mean, chances. Yeah. That's really odd. Maybe if there's anyone else in the chat who's on iOS can confirm. Okay. Next question.
I'm gonna do some April 2nd. Yeah, there's a processing for App Store.
You're just checking the emails.
There's an email here that says it was actually I've got a processing. Oh yeah, no, there's a ready for sale one too. So yeah, as far as I can tell, 505 should be there. Oh, hello, there's my face.
Okay.
Next question is from Lediath.
No, we got that one.
Oh, we got that one?
Oh, sort of. I think, didn't I? I thought I
combat oh, maybe
added to this. Yes, it was the combat text.
Oh, okay.
So.
Alrighty. Let's go on to the next question.
Sure. Cool, here we go. This one is in regards to a question. This is following up on a question that was asked up earlier. This is from Anaya Nebel. Is it possible to come up with a drop non-contributing member option for trials? Perhaps if a member has contributed 0 DPS in 48 hours, the other players can vote to drop. Reset that player's trial timer and refund them their blood so they're not punished at all if real life happened. And then have an option so that a player can opt in and join the already started party. This would stop contributing players from getting punished.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting kind of approach to it. I do have some concerns with that. mainly around sort of
Tiamat jail.
yeah, I mean, there's certainly some issues around the dropping the player, but the bigger ones are around having a new player join the already started party. Lots of issues with just technically how the system for that. I honestly think that some of the changes that we have planned should alleviate a lot of these options or a lot of these issues. And if not, then we will certainly take a stab at some fixes in some additional fixes in the future once they're out.
I do like the idea of Tiamat jail, though. That's all right.
Yeah.
Next question. This is from Randram. Do you prefer it if repeat questions submitted every single week as clockwork are the same, or rephrased but with the same meaning?
So it doesn't matter to me how the questions that people like. I know there was some about the 9 jump up here that we kind of skipped over. People asking about so some of the same stuff that is often asked about. I honestly don't mind if it comes in the exact same format, or if you want to spice it up. We read every question every week, so we're well aware of what gets asked, even if we don't have a good answer for you that particular week.
Yeah, no, I definitely recognize the questions at the beginning having been asked before, and we just didn't have a good answer on hand for them. So yeah, that means some of them, if you ask them over and again each week, may just not get answered if it's a question that's just not something we have a good answer to. But
speaking of questions, I think we're out of time for questions.
Does look that way.
So we should have some music that plays at this point where it's like some sad outro. Outro music, or it's like story time. If we didn't get to your question this week, don't worry, you will have another opportunity. We will be live again at the same time next week. Before we go, we'd like to thank our moderators this week. It was Jordan and Sean. They are the two folks who take your questions out of the chat, put them into our questions document, and generally help to make chat really awesome. So thanks to both of you.
And of course, thanks to all of you for hanging out, watching the stream, asking such great questions, and for enjoying the game. Without you, no one here would get to do what we do.
We like what we do. Sorry, I was busy typing in the document.
Yep, that's it. That's all we got time for. We're out. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Hi, everyone. You got like a dad joke or something for me? What's going on? You used it earlier on.
Yeah. I mean,
right,
I was going to ask like, oh wait, you got one? Go for it.
I got one for you. Okay. This is related to yours earlier. What is a pirate's favorite letter?
Oh, I know the answer to this, but I've forgotten.
Yeah, you'd think it would be R, but a pirate's true love is the C.
Yeah, that's right.
Heh.